Well, when Artangel first invited me to do the commission, I came to London with a view to finding a site. And I came to the financial district and I was really struck by how silent it was at the weekends. So it was that silence that inspired Surround Me, which is a sound installation in 6 parts around the City of London. The site we're at the moment is Muirfield's High Walkway. This is one of my favourite sites because it looks like it's been completely abandoned almost overnight. It's got this kind of post-apocalyptic feel about it. And the madrigal that I'm singing by John Bennett is about someone who would die for the love of this woman. A madrigal is supposed to give the impression that you don't have to draw breath, almost like a heavenly body where they don't have to draw breath, and they do that by the overlapping of the voices. The work that you hear down at Token House Yard, and there's a really good vista of the Bank of England at the end of the street. So I chose that location for the Silver Swan by Orlando Gibbons. And it was a kind of swan song. I mean, they say it's maybe about the end of the musical era, the madrigal, and the Elizabethan times it was finally coming to an end. But then in the context of the financial district and the Bank of England, and I think it might take on other connotations. When you go down to Change Alley, next to the Royal Exchange where the old Stock Exchange used to be, and it's infamous actually for being the place where the South Sea bubble burst. One of the composers of the time, Thomas Ravenscroft, he wrote this New Oysters, which is a song that was inspired by the street traders' cries. And you can tell it was the real cries of the street traders. They weren't idealised ones, and that's what I particularly liked about the Ravenscroft rounds. Well, I liked Mark Lane because of the different types of architecture. You have a 14th century tower beside the Gherkin in the background, and the work that you hear there is another Ravenscroft round called Oh My Love. And there's 4 speakers in 4 corners of the space, so you're completely immersed in the sound. The work that you hear in Milk Street is a work by John Dowland, and he wrote this work called Lacrimae, and Lacrimae means tear. So the architecture in Milk Street is very different again from Moorgate and London Bridge and Token House Yard. I mean, it's a very corporate feel about it, and I like the reflection from all the glass facade. And what I've done is I've asked a violinist to play the Lacrimae, each of the 7 Lacrimae, but each note comes from its own speaker. The whole city kind of revolves around the Thames. Thousands of people flow over the bridge every day, and it's sort of reflected in the water, the flowing water. And I think there's something quite melancholy about that, the idea that the people come and go, but the river always flows. The acoustics of the underside of the London Bridge are very interesting. There was this strange kind of effect where the sound seems to come from the middle of the river. So themes of circulation and rounds and immersion and fluidity, and these are themes that are running through all the works. Yeah, well, there's no way that you have to experience the work. You can come in at any point. You might have passed through this Muirfield's High Walkway every day, but then I think what the sound does is really animate the architecture and define the space in a new way.